Good morning and welcome to Commutes episode 7. And the first thing you're going to say is, that's not an AMI, what on earth is that? It is Saturday at earlier clock as usual. And this is my 2013 Kangoo ZE, a little Renault electric van. Now, for those of you that are new to the channel and joined when AMI arrived, you'll probably not know the story of this one, so we'll have a bit of a recap. But first things first, AMI's absolutely fine. There's just various reasons that mean I'm driving this at the moment. AMI's just tucked up in the garage, so it's having a week off, whilst the Kangoo comes into action for a little bit. I got this van, probably almost a couple of years ago now. I bought it second hand. It was a really good price actually. I paid less than £3,000 for this, and if you have a look on eBay for a Renault Kangoo ZE in any sort of working condition, you'll see that the way the market has gone, that's very cheap indeed. It's got a 22 kilowatt hour battery. This particular model is registered in 2013 and has just under 40,000 miles on the clock. And what you get with that 22 kilowatt hour battery is, well, now around 60 miles of range on a full charge. We actually tested that. I went to pick up some equipment from Worcester, so it's between 20 and 30 miles away, so 50-60 mile round trip, and tested the range to its limits. There's a link in the description if you want to check that video out, what it was like making the most of a very short range in a little van. But what that gives you is, for local journeys, a fairly decent way to haul stuff around. The big caveat with the Kangoo ZE, and where its real downfall is that it does not have any kind of rapid charging. It charges at 3.6 kilowatts AC, and that's it. That is your lot. It is not able to rapid charge at all. The later model had a slightly bigger battery that charged at 7 kilowatts, but that didn't really help that much, because I had a bigger battery, it still took quite a while to charge. I personally think Renault really stunted the capability of this thing by not giving it faster charging. Even giving it the 22 kilowatt AC charging that the Zoe had would have been a massive difference to how appealing these things were. You know, you could realistically have this out in the morning doing a decent mileage, charge it at lunchtime and be back out again in the afternoon. But I think with a 3.6 kilowatt onboard charging, you definitely wouldn't be able to run it in that manner. You would need to be fairly confident that your usage meant that you weren't having to completely exhaust the battery over the course of a day, otherwise I think you'd be struggling a little bit. So I think that definitely impacted how well they sold, although they are useful to the right people for the right reasons. There are also an awful lot of people out there that need vans that are like, well, it doesn't compete with diesel in the slightest, and I agree. I agree that, you know, the 1.5 DCI one of these that will probably do 300 miles on a tank, and you can fill it up in a couple of minutes, is what most businesses will probably need. But there are definitely use cases, especially inner city use cases, where I think these are brilliant. You'll have to excuse the state of this today. There's a lot of rubbish in the back and stuff. So basically, this ended up, I sat around for a bit. I wasn't needing it as much as I did when I first bought it. And so it was just sat around, not really going anywhere, not really turning a wheel. So not exactly ideal, not great for a vehicle just to be sitting around. It ended up kind of being used as a bit of an bin store. So we've got all the stuff in here that actually needs to go with the tip. It's just sitting in here. But we're going to get that sorted. So what I've decided to do, and the reason I'm driving it today, is I want to properly get it back on the road and sort of recommission it. Because it's not good at just sitting around. So if I'm not going to actually use it, it'll need to go up for sale. But either way, it needs a bit of sort of recommissioning, a bit of running in. So we need to clean it up a bit because it's a bit filthy. Get rid of all this rubbish. Need to refit the bulkhead and you know, just start making a bit more use of it. I've got a couple of ideas for potentials for videos that might star it and might put it to good use, which will no doubt involve some good tests of that range again. Now, one thing you've maybe noticed is that the window steams up a little bit in here, so it's a little bit more like AMI than you might realise. But the reason for that is the heater doesn't work, so I can't. Well, the blowers work. I can blow cold air on the windscreen. I can't actually warm it up in here, so it's not ideal. The blowers do clear the windscreen, but it's not as good, obviously, as if there was some heat. We need to try and work out what's going on there. So the PTC heaters in these are renowned for failing, and that could be the problem. But the previous owner said that they'd replaced it and it still didn't work. So there's another thing I want to check to see if that's what's going on. But I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what the issue might be with the heating. It would be really good if we could fix that, because even if I'm going to sell it, that'll definitely help on the value. And as you've probably noticed, we're nearly at work already. The journey's a little bit quicker when you take the bypass, because obviously this doesn't have anywhere near as limiting a top speed as AMI. Now it's no powerhouse, but it's certainly, it can do more than 28. So I will see you in a few hours. So it turns out we had some technical issues. It is now Sunday evening, and I did film a second part of this video on my way home yesterday, but when I went to edit it, I had all the sound, but none of the video. I don't know what went wrong. It recorded about 20 seconds of actual footage, and then it just got stuck, and I got just sound for the rest, which is really, really strange. It's never done that before, but it does mean that this video is a bit of a weird one, because the second half just doesn't exist. So we're going to have to fill in the blanks a little bit. And I thought about just not uploading at all and missing a week, but I thought it's quite important to keep up this regular rhythm. So not only do we not have AMI for this video, obviously we have the Kangoo ZE. We also, this isn't actually sort of a real commuting thing, so yeah. But nonetheless, let's talk about some AMI news, shall we? UK delivery updates. There is still an awful lot of you out there, it seems, waiting for this sort of special edition models, whether the Pop or the Vibe or the Tonic. I haven't seen anyone take delivery of a Tonic yet, which was obviously the model that was released after the initial UK orders had started. I haven't seen anyone say that their Tonic is en route yet. There will obviously have been some ordered, but they might be a little bit delayed. But still an awful lot of people that with expected original delivery dates in October last year still waiting for the Pop model. And it is disappointing. I think Citroën UK are struggling a little bit. Obviously, this has not been a plain sailing thing for them. There have been a number of issues with AMI, and it seems to be plagued with delays and process changes. I gather that they're now using a different logistics company, from what I've heard, for handling both sort of deliveries and getting vehicles to the dealers and all that stuff. So that can't be easy for them. So I kind of feel for them a little bit, but there are obviously a lot of customers getting a bit frustrated now. So I feel for you as well. If you're one of the various people that are still waiting and seem to seemingly be delayed and delayed and delayed, I definitely feel for you. It's a crap situation to be in. I do hope you have some good news fairly shortly. It still seems that anybody that's ordered a base model or one with a colour pack is getting good news, and they are getting their AMI delivered. Every week goes by and there's 2 or 3 appear on the sort of owners groups on Facebook saying, oh, I took delivery today, I'm so excited, which is awesome news. An interesting little issue seems to have developed. So for a little while, the colour packs weren't being delivered, and I believe that situation is being resolved. I've heard of some people say that, oh, I'm not getting the colour pack on day one at the dealership like I did, but it's getting shipped to me and it'll be here in a couple of days, so it's getting sent direct to people. And so I think Citroën are working around these logistics challenges with the colour packs. But I'm now hearing some people say that, oh, I don't have the Type 2 adapter. It seems that they're on back order and it'll be a little bit of a delay until I get my Type 2 adapter. And to me, that's a little bit more of an issue. You know, some of the accessory stuff you can live without for a little bit, but the Type 2 adapter, if you've got a home charger or you're planning on making use of public chargers, it really is essential. Now, I know that statement is a matter of opinion, because some people think that it's not essential in the slightest, and they'll use, you know, a 3-pin adapter from the likes of Tough Leads or similar, and that'll be how they're definitely going to charge their AMI, and they'll never ever use Type 2, so they probably don't see the value in the Type 2 adapter. But I did see someone on a forum the other day saying that I've just taken delivery of my AMI, the Type 2 adapter hasn't arrived, and it means I cannot charge at work, where I can normally charge for free. I can't charge at work at the moment because the Type 2 adapter isn't there. And that really is a pretty crap situation to be in. So I do hope that those of you that need a Type 2 adapter that are waiting on them, I hope that gets sorted out for you very soon. Apart from that, not a lot more sort of AMI news on the go at the moment. Like I say, still a few frustrated people and some long delays, but I do hope that things are going to start picking up fairly shortly. I guess those boats can't be very far away, the ones that everyone's frantically trying to track, and hopefully that'll mean there'll be some very good news very shortly. As for the Kangoo ZE, if you're interested in seeing some more from it, I'm going to get all this crap out of here. I'm going to refit the bulkhead, give it a good clean. It's generally a little bit minging in here. I think the combination of sitting around, not doing very much, and then being used very much as a van to do van stuff when I do use it, means it's not particularly pleasant in here. So clean all this up, and then I've got a couple of ideas for how we can maybe put this to the test. It's a short range electric commercial vehicle. It has quite a lot of shortcomings, let's be honest. All in all, it's a little bit crap if you're expecting it to do exactly the same as what a diesel van can do. But if you can live with its shortcomings, I think it's very useful, and I hopefully can think of a couple of ways to demonstrate how useful it actually is, and that could be good fun. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested in seeing more from the Kangoo ZE. And if there's anything that interests you in particular you'd like to know about, feel free to ask, and we'll see what we can do. I'm going to tackle trying to get the heater working, because I'll see that's one of the big problems with this, is the heater doesn't work. But I don't think we'll feature that very much. Unless I end up just taking it to someone and have them repair it, I don't think we'll be featuring much information about the heater, because I'm more than a little bit tempted to have a poke around that myself, and I would not like to encourage anyone to do any DIY repairs on the HV side of any EV. It's a bad idea unless you're sure that you're competent and ideally qualified to do so. You shouldn't be poking around. So I don't think making content that focuses on that is the right thing to do, because I don't want to give anybody the idea that that's something that you should be able to just have a go at, because it's not a good idea at all. Failing that, maybe I'll get someone to send me one of those crappy diesel heaters and we'll bang that in here just to get some heat in here. That would also be quite interesting, maybe. But a lot of people have said that about AMI, like, oh, just put a diesel heater in it and then you'll have, reliable heating, instead of having to, like, rely on the crappy little windscreen heater and stuff. You can have a diesel heater and that'll give you loads of heat and that'll be great. But that sort of idea of putting a diesel burning heater in an electric vehicle, it just doesn't really do anything for me at all. When I first got this, people suggested the same thing. Oh, just get one of those diesel heaters. That sorts out your heating issues. And I'm like, well, yeah, but taking a zero emissions vehicle and adding a diesel heater to it, although I'll use minute amounts of diesel, it just doesn't sit right with me. But we're meant to have another cold snap next week, so whether I'm using this or whether I'm using AMI, I'm sure that's going to be really pleasant. So then maybe that makes the urgency of getting some working heating in here a little bit higher. We'll see about that. But that is pretty much it for this video. This pretty strange, not really AMI commutes, not really any commutes for at least the second half of this. But we got it done. We got it uploaded. Thank you very much for watching. Normal service will hopefully resume with AMI next week, although if it is freezing cold, maybe not. Just noticed as I'm filming this closing thing. So a while ago I did a test with this. There's a link in the description to fitting a doorbell under the bonnet. I was asked by a manufacturer to review this doorbell, and I just noticed that the sticky pad on the dash isn't really doing its thing anymore. So this was just slowly slipping off the dash. So yeah, that's not so good. I think that's probably not going to stick back on there either. And I don't think. I guess the batteries in the doorbell unit that's now still under the bonnet isn't working either. So, this was great when it worked. I'm guessing it is the batteries are dead, but the sticky pad that came with it, not so good if you're putting your doorbell on the dashboard of your van rather than outside your front door. Strange one. Anyway. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.